It's time to go deep into PulseChain, understand the psychology of the PulseChain community, Richard Heart, the dynamics at play, why we're all convicted, and why everything is playing out as it is right now, with seemingly little communication from the leader, price action to represent it, and a lot of faithful believers. Why is it like that, friends? Well, my write-up will help to explain to you Richard Heart. Some say Ricardo Corazon. Some say Richard Fart. Some say Dicky. Okay? Eric Wall calls him the fat man. It doesn't matter. Okay? He is the founder of the chain. We can do this same type of stuff for Satoshi. We can do it for Vitalik, okay, with Ethereum. We can do it for Brad Garlic Breath. We can do it for Justin Sun and Tron. We can do it for Charles Cuckinson from Corridanzo and so on, okay? This is for PulseChain. Why? Because I believe PulseChain is extremely undervalued, but I just want to explain to you what's going on, right? Because you're looking at these undervalued prices wondering, hey, man, why is it like that? And what's going on with this pDAI thing? Well, allow me to explain, friends. So this is just a metaphor, okay? This is not blasphemy. I'm using it like a metaphor, all right? We are a city. We are a country. When you're in crypto, in a coin, in a chain, it really is, you're a digital nation state, okay? Now, in your nation state, in your country, you might be considered the president or God or the high priest. It doesn't matter what word you use. For Richard Heart, though, here he is. I consider him God because it's like a cult. The leader. It doesn't matter what word you use, okay? So in this ecosystem, Richard Heart is God. And you got to think about God from the Bible, friends. God in the Bible, whenever someone is about to sin, all right, God doesn't say, yo, Jerry, put that willy back in your pants. Stop hanging out with ladies of the night. Go back to your wife and kids. No, Tom, don't go and gamble, please. Oh, Billy, stop having that illicit substance over there. You don't need it. Have you tried peanuts? God doesn't come and do that. All right? That's how we live, okay? Check out the Bible, friends. God's watching. And there's some stories of the Bible, yeah? You go and sin, then God comes down. And he's like, listen here, Pete. What were you doing last night, huh? Why did you eat all the jelly beans from the jar? I told you not to take them. And I was like, no, God, please, spare me. Spare me. You know I have a weak spot for the pink and the purple ones. And then God says, why did you eat the white, shitty, lemon-flavored ones too then? See? That's how the stories go. God's not out here preventing you from doing all this sin. He gives you free will. Now, this is going to come out, friends. We're going to connect this all. This is how markets work, right? So Richard Heart, this is WarLord Richard when he's streaming. Yeah, you've seen it? WarLord Richard, friends. Now, I nicknamed the term WarLord Richard because this is Chris Black. Also, interesting. So WarLord Richard, he loves debating with people. He loves proving them wrong because he's a smart dude. You know, everyone's got their own thing. Now, Chris Black, okay, he's now driving DoorDash. When Hex first started rallying, Chris Black over here, he was spammed on his stream by Hexicans. All right? And then Hex went up and did like another 500x. All right? So Chris Black, he doesn't have to be driving DoorDash right now. If he just listened to the Hexican retardios, he could have changed his life. He might have round-tripped, but it doesn't matter. He had the chance to. Now, this WarLord Richard you've seen, fans, this is what I call him. WarLord Richard, right? Everything's great. Cycle 1 unicorn, has a vision. But, you know, this is the picture I'm painting. So, remember, in this ecosystem, just like every founder, Richard Heart is God. He does not come down and say to you things also like, he doesn't say, don't worry about your pain right now. You are totally going to heaven, baby. He doesn't say that. All right. So, instead, he lets you figure it out yourself. So, some people, friends, just continue to do sin anyway. Or blasphemy. You know, in the Bible, the biggest sin, the only real sin of Christianity, for example, is to deny the Holy Spirit. Interesting. Like each religion, they have like their most biggest sin out here. Okay. In Christianity, that's what it is. It's to say, Holy Spirit, you don't exist. That's it. Okay. And when you think about it from like maybe a modern perspective, it's almost like you go into the creator and like let's say it is a simulation, friends, and God's made all this. Yeah. God could be a light, energy source, consciousness. Maybe we're all parts of it, whatever it is. Okay, we can't even contemplate it. And then we're literally going to God like, you know what? I don't even reckon you made me, God. I reckon it was all random. You know, so it's interesting. That's the biggest sin out here. Now, whatever it is, in the end, only the faithful believers will make it. In the end, okay? Just like, you know, Jesus walking through the desert, Moses parting the sea. That's what it comes down to. Okay, only the faithful believers make it. In 2020, WarLord Richard was streaming, and not once did he ever say the following. Richard never said this, okay? Please don't sell your hacks, please. WarLord Richard, I'm gonna sell Ethereum at $4,000, which I got from raising from the HEX ICO. And with that $200 million profit, I'm going to rotate into HEX and I'm going to push it up to 55 cents from you. Now, if he knew he was going to do that, why didn't he say that? And this is the chart. He never did that. Part of the plan. God's plan. Never said that, right? Why didn't he tell everyone that? He had every opportunity to. Friends, do you understand how many people said, HEX, the OA is going to dump on us. It doesn't work. It's trash in this period. Many, many people said it's trash, never going to work. There's a famous guy. I've got his name out. Johnny Chaos posts his videos sometimes. The guy sold like 200 million HEX and he collected like a couple of $100,000. But that was worth $100 million at the top. And he was dumping around here. And then after dumping, he went and flooded the whole ecosystem. I think he ends up going and doing the WISE token. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But yeah, he ends up going somewhere else. But yeah, it's kind of like he dumps everything, floods it, and then goes, you know what? This is never going to work in the first place. It's what we call concern trolling. Okay, the guy was totally wrong. So, do you think Richard, after watching him, he's like, hey, bro, please come back by your 200 million HEX because that's going to be worth $100 million at the top because I am promising you, WarLord Richard, aka God in this ecosystem, I've actually collected all this ETH. I'm going to go dump it for you and I'm going to do it on this date so you already know. Why didn't he do that? Because he's smart. He knows how the game works. You can't do that, friends. You can't. Instead, Richard said, and remember, we're paraphrasing here because it's a bit of a joke. It's a story. He goes, God, will let the non-believers shake themselves out. Just like they did with Bitcoin. That I bought in early. Pretty much, I was mining it at 50 Bitcoin per block. I will let the non-believers shake them out, just like in every market cycle known to mankind. And only the faithful will remain. Those who are faithful and believe in the green candle. Okay? So, to make it even easier, friends, Richard, he basically dropped 40,000 hints. You know what I mean? Dips are in the game. Volatility is the price you pay. I'm a billionaire. Rumored. I don't need to sell. Look at the price chart. Look at the game theory. It's designed to pump. What else? Delay your gratification. He does all those, right? And friends, this is how market cycles all work. Okay? That's how they all work. Now, if you disrupt this entire process, what happens is the constituents of holders, you screw it up, okay? You get heavy baggage. So those heavy baggage people, non-believer, scam, they become a thorn in your side later on. Okay? And you have a lot more thorns than you want. They become liabilities later on. Yeah, I mean, like you could use any analogy you want. Imagine you and I on a boat. There's 100 people. We're going to the island where there's infinite orange juice fountains over there. And then like 5 people get sick. And the captain's like, oh crap. 5 people have been infected with bitch tits because they've had a lot of soy. And if we don't kick them off the boat, 95 of the rest of us, we're going to also have bitch tits from the rest of the soy infection. So the captain's got to make a decision. Do I just throw these guys off board and make the boat lighter and healthier, or do I risk everybody getting infected with soy? Only the captain can make that call. So this is Richard's game. The game, story, whatever you want, okay? It is what it is. Now, I like using these terms. I guess if you sat him down, he'd be like, oh, I see how this is all playing out. I was only doing this subconsciously. It might be like that. But also, it's the same thing with Vitalik. It's the same thing with Bitcoin, Satoshi. It's the same thing with Brad Garlic Breath, Charles Cuckinson. It doesn't matter, okay? I can put this story together because I'm here 18 hours a day. When you put the story together and it matches the chart trend and you have these big price dips, it gives you conviction. You just need one big home run, you smash it in one cycle, and then you're done, okay? You don't need to do this over and over and over again unless you want to be as good as Warren Buffett and turn your $1 billion into $85 billion plus later on. You don't really need to do that. You just need one home run. So now you see, friends, why you deserve some pump music, and you will get it. So now I'm going to show you something, okay, friends? This is the pDAI logo. All right, you know what pDAI logo is, yeah? You know me, I've got peg nipples. Huh! You know that. All right, now, look, I can't predict the future, okay? Everything's a coin toss, all right? I barely know how to wipe my ass, okay? I'm just thinking about crypto 24/7. Now, look, I don't know. I believe Richard will never tweet something similar to what I'm about to say. He will never say, don't worry, guys, pDAI is totally my coin. I'm behind it. Grok was right. I'm actually behind it. I'm the master controller. There is no minting bug, and there's nothing to worry about. So please, dumpers, come back in and enjoy the ride. I don't think Richard's ever going to say that. Now, whether he's intentionally playing God or not, okay? Richard, friends, remember, if you were to ask me where it actually comes from, he's mimicking Satoshi and Bitcoin, okay? Because that's what Richard does, okay? Richard's the only guy in crypto who came in, he looked at Bitcoin and Ethereum, and he's like, I got to go after Bitcoin, right? No one else did that. No one. Everyone else gave up. They're like, let's try to do the utility stuff like Ethereum. Okay, so Richard looked at Bitcoin and he's like, let's see what we can actually do to improve it. No one actually really gave it a fair crack. He did a very, very special thing there. And so he probably, friends, looked at himself in early Bitcoin, which I'll now show you. He looked at himself, okay? He was in very, very early Bitcoin, friends, back in 2011, 2012, like obviously a long time ago. Where are we? We're like here. Did you know, friends, Richard bought the top here. I think he put like 20 grand into Bitcoin at 32 bucks as well. Then it dropped to $2, okay? So he bought in, it went down, and he just was like, you know what, screw it, I'm not getting out. And then it came back. So he probably, friends, see, it's funny. It's funny how people, we go through similar scenarios and we come up with different interpretations of what happens. That's what friends like Richie, Elon Musk, and just, other people out there in the world, Steve Jobs, who made Tim Apple's company, just other people who just done big things in the world. They go through experiences and then they learn something just 1% differently to the population, and then that snowballs into something big. So obviously friends, if I went through this, and Bitcoin went down 90%, like it did with Da Vinci. Yeah, whatever. If Da Vinci got in here and it went back, I would have probably been like, yes, hodl, hodl and believe, hodl and believe. Okay, that's almost ours. So where we are, so if you're in that, we're taking a perspective of, remember, there's God and there's the worshippers. Okay, we're more general population worshippers interpretation. That's our default, you know. But obviously after studying this dude, I realized, oh, Richard, he didn't come out of it knowing, believing, oh yes, the worshippers, we win, I'm a worshipper. He doesn't think like that. Because he's like business, entrepreneurial. He's like thinking like a CEO. He's like, oh, okay, so if I was ever in control of something of this game, this is how I've got to play it. Where the price goes down, there's no announcement telling you price is going to go up. Satoshi doesn't come back and go, don't worry guys, it's totally going to pump, don't sell. There was none of that. Now, whether Richard intentionally learned that, or it's more of a, hey, I didn't get it, so you don't get it either. Or he's just like, oh, natural market cycles work like that. Or he's like, oh, it doesn't matter whether I tell you yes or no. It doesn't even matter anyway. It honestly, you can go through 1,000 scenarios. Doesn't matter. It is what it is, okay? So you see this, friends? This is it. So, you know, it depends what interpretation framework you want to have. It's all the same, you know? Leader, follower, God, worshippers, CEO, employee. You see what I mean? You know, father and then children. Okay, it doesn't matter. It is the same thing, all right? Leader, follower. So it's kind of explaining, right? As he goes you through this experience, they learn about that. So when it comes to the Hex and PulseChain and all the game and this ecosystem that's been going on, he's building this city, it has elements of that now, right? It really does. But because he's silent on that, remember, because friends, it's a cult, yeah? And cult, obviously, friends, it's all culture, right? We all want that need. We want someone to come out, like the fatherly figure, to come out and say, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. You know, we all inherently want that. You know, but maybe Richard's like, no, you know what? I don't want that one thorn in our side, man. I don't want him. I want him out. I want all of them out. This is literally the promised land, okay? And to get to the promised land, I got to make a pump, huge amounts. I don't want any thorn in our side. Because at the end, that thorn in our side, yeah, if he's the difference between us being able to go, you know, 60x and 360x, screw him. He can suffer. So that might be how he's thinking. Okay, they compute these differently, friends, and they summarize it very quickly. He has a decision tree in his head. Richard might be watching this now. He's like, oh yeah, cool, you've been able to flesh this out. He probably makes his decision in 2 seconds. He's like, nah, just cut the. You know, friends, remember we're on the boat. Yeah, there's an infection of soy on the boat. Richard's the captain. He's like, just get rid of him, dude. He like 1 second decision. Just get rid of him, you know? And then you have highly empathetic people like, no, what about their families? And like, we have to analyze how fast the infection of soy is going to be. Or maybe when we get to the orange juice island, there's something to cure the soy. You know what I mean? Like, he's just like, no, just get him off. Okay, so it is what it is. These are just their business decisions, their tribal decisions, their country decisions, it's presidential decisions. It is what it is. So you come to this big conclusion, right? You let the non-believers shake themselves out, all right? Now, I've given you this fleshed out story, but there's more than to meets the eye. So now I'm showing you this pDAI price chart. The first dip was 99.93%. The next one is 90%. The third one is 86%. Now we're on the fourth, 89%. Might go lower, I don't know, but it's number 4. Do you think this time is different? Man, these things are, this is the challenging part, by the way. And this is very challenging. Okay, so it's Richard Heart affiliated, Richard Heart chain, but the dips are way more intense and aggressive than Hex last cycle. Yeah, that's what's making this. That's why, friends, Hex maxis. So a lot of the OG PulseChain community members that were from Hex days, yeah? So they all know Hex price dips. And the price dips are child's play, okay? They are truly child's play. You look at this, okay? So this one, firstly, the one at the start was like pDAI, I down 98%. This one comes 58%. This one comes 67. This one comes 84, and then you're only down 76%. Look at these numbers. 50%. And look at this one. 35. And look at this one. 55. These numbers are nothing. We're seeing 40s and 50s. 40s and 50s. But this is literally total annihilation. 99.93. 90% down. 86% down. 89% down. Friends, if I was... Let's say I was a master nipple tweaker in control in the command center, all right? I'm the master nipple tweaker. Let's say there's a lot of thorns, liabilities, a lot of people who have got a lot of pDAI or whatever coins. That's in topic, right? And you don't want them there. Well, you're like, you know what? I've got to run this simulation to the full extent, man. I've got to wipe you out with a minus 90%. And yeah, look, I don't know if it's him. I don't know, friends, but it's just like, and it's not just him as well, okay? Because the dips are also a function of Ethereum is weak, mega weak. So that's like accentuating Pulse on the way down, which is slapping pDAI hard. And obviously Pulse and the core coins have their freaking destruction zones too, right? But that's why this is tough, you know? Is it planned by Richard? Or is it just like, you know what, man, it just sucks ass, you know? We got weak ISM business cycle stuff. 4 red monthly candles in a row, Ethereum, there's a lot of lagging, wBTC, round trips, 9 years of gains. It is what it is, okay? So we can try to find that domino that fell, but it doesn't really matter, okay? It's a story going on. Now, friends, with pDAI, okay, we have seen big players with up to 1 billion pDAI sell down and exit. All right, remember there's only, how much? There's 22.5 billion pDAI. I think Richard has about 12.5 billion, so that leaves 10, yeah? I think Maria, ATROPA Dev, bless his heart, scooped up 3 and then bonded it to ATROPA, makes a whole ecosystem out of it. So, oh, wow, that was a big one, right? He's like, he's on board with Richard. Right, he's like, I see the vision, you know? It's almost like, friends, you remember from the Bible, do you remember, friends, there is Saul, he has you know, it's now Paul, St. Paul, he sees the blinding light, right? And Jesus is like, hey, why are you persecuting me? You got to go do stuff for me now, Paulie. He's like, oh, I'm blinded, but yeah, that's all right. Look, I don't know if, look, I'm just dressing up these stories, okay? But like, I don't know. These are just, I'm downloading this from somewhere in my head. I don't know where this is coming from, okay? I'm just putting these together. It reminds me of, you know, this is God and the ecosystem, and he's got this flashing light, you know? Because God doesn't come down, give you a receipt, you know, and says, hey, Saul, you better do this, and you better do that. He doesn't. It comes to the blinding light, can't see. He hears stuff. He's like, why have you forsaken me? You know what I mean? Go build a church and do all these other stuff, okay? I mean, these are a very powerful part of the Bible. And then St. Paul ends up being pivotal in the church. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you go to church, always the readings. A letter from St. Paul to the Corinthians out here, right? Is that what, like, Maria is? That's something to think about. So this is Maria out here. Maria, friends. Always Maria. He have Stevie putting the love heart as well. Maria's on board of it. Remember, Maria's like, we're pegging tomorrow. We're pegging tomorrow. But a lot of people like giving flack for that, but I'm always thinking like, friends, it's like if we were around in the Roman times and St. Paul's like, you're going to heaven tomorrow. There's going to be infinite amounts of grapes and jelly beans and everything for all. You know, heaven's going to be totally great, totally worth it. You know, imagine that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we're eventually going, bro. But, you know, I don't know if we're going tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, I can wait a bit, you know? I want to watch the next next episode of Simpsons, you know? So that might be what we're looking at. Just these, like, you know, different... And basically, in markets, it translates to, okay, Wen Moon. And no one knows when Moon is, right? In all the religions, there's always, like, instead of Wen Moon, it's Wen Salvation, right? Christianity, Wen Salvation. When they're coming back? When's the second coming? You know, every religion's got that. You know, when Nirvana, when salvation. When are we going to get to the part where I go to heaven and get all the jelly beans? You know, so in markets, friends, we've always got Wen Moon. It's kind of funny. Crypto's been able to basically, you know, isolate this and like make us laugh at it too. Now, remember, friends, think about the blinding light and Paul and Richard's watching from afar. That might be the pDAI stuff, and then PulseChain and the core coins and everything going down, right? Because it all ties in together, right? So you always got to imagine Richard, okay? Richard, so I'll just show you the picture. Imagine Richard looking from afar. So this is Richard leading his people. He's looking from afar, and he's thinking, oh, God. Which is funny. He's God himself. He's like, oh, that non-believer dude, he's got a lot of my token. I'm just using pDAI as an example. That guy's got like 400 million of my token. Damn. A billion of my token. Well, if it's going to $1, Richard's probably thinking, you know what? I want that guy to just shake himself out. Just shake himself out. Because Richard, friends, look, if let's say there are people out there, they've collected 1 billion pDAI. They don't have 1 billion anymore. They've lost like 90% of it. Yeah. And more. They'll just get rid of it. So Richard has that option, man. You know? So when that guy had 1 billion, Richard could have tweeted. He could have tweeted 1.5 years ago, right? Early in pDAI day. Yeah, he could have, friends. Remember, we all knew. Okay, remember Richard hinted about pDAI. Remember, just to confirm, friends. Okay, so the first logo on PulseChain, PulseX exchange, was pDAI. That was the first logo put in. It was the yellow die, and it had the pink and purple logo around it. It was this one. That was the first logo. Okay, that was it. So now this is the pDAI price chart, friends. You got to remember, right? When it went down, and this thing magically hits this exact price point, which is... Friends, remember, just to clarify, okay, this exact low, this literal exact low, and we all know that number, it's 0.000005018. Okay, if you do that times, so you write it down here, okay, so I'm sure it's this right here, 0. And then, like I said, 5018 times 555x, you get $1. Okay? You literally get $1. So the price went down there, and then some people accumulated, like Maria accumulated, like some people could see the vision. But some people fell off along the way. And remember, man, down here, Richard could have tweeted, hello, my friends, I am Richard, here's my Twitter account. Don't sell your pDAI. Because I'm going to buy Ethereum with the sacrifice funds. When Ethereum gets to $12,000, I'm going to dump half of it. Then we're going to use it to do some bonding. I'm going to peg it to $1. I'm going to use the origin address collateral vault. And then it's going to go there. Then I'm going to use some debt collateral maker system. I'm building my own decentralized digital nation. Tick, 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 tick. Here's all the things we've got to do. Congratulations. If you just bought $1 billion DAI, you're a future billionaire, my friend. He could have said that. Why didn't he say that? Everything I've told you leading up to this point so far in this video. Just like how HEX happened. When HEX went down here, friends, why didn't Richard say, hello, my friends, now that you have 100 million HEX, make sure you don't sell it. I now have your 150,000 Ethereum. I'm going to sell it when it's $4,000. Then I'm going to rotate $200 million in. It's going to hit 55 cents. Your 200 million HEX that you have right now is actually worth $100 million at the top. Thank you very much. You didn't have to do anything, friend. Mr. Liability? Why didn't he say that? He could have said that. Why didn't he say that? You know why. It's a believers only cycle. Only the faithful believers make it. And by the way, this is what he went through. He bought Bitcoin. That's why, friends, like, it's all your interpretation. He got into Bitcoin. He's like, hey, bro, screw you. No one told me Bitcoin was going to go a lot higher. I would have bought a lot more than 20 grand if I knew it was going to happen. That's about what he said. He's like, oh, I didn't get it. You didn't get it. But then he also might say, hey, I don't know what happens if I tell you and I screw the whole process up. Because we've only seen this miracle unicorn happen once. It happened with Bitcoin, okay? I don't want to be the first retardio guinea pig to screw this up, right? So why screw that up? And he might go, by the way, I want only the believers to make it, you know? So I'm not even going to tell you anyway. He might be thinking like that. So this process cannot be interrupted, right? And it's a believer's cycle. Only the believers will make it, just like how it happened with HEX. And it's probably how it's happening on PulseChain right now. Prices get dumped, there's correlations, macro forces. Okay. But also, friends, you got to understand, I made so many videos. A key part of the potential PulseChain HyperLoop involves pDAI. Okay, because in a nutshell, follow closely, if he does the pDAI thing, it gives him more purchasing power access to pump bags for PulseChain. You get it? I calculated it, okay? If he uses the Ethereum price only, which is the OA funds, at Ethereum 10K, he's only got access to about $1.7 billion of purchasing power. However, if he goes through the pDAI route, it's a wild card, but the upside could be like $5 or $10 billion in the future. It's leverage on the upside. Okay, so that's why. So you want to know, so Sommi, why would he even do this in the first place? There's the answer. Okay, he probably worked out. He's like, look, I'm here for total glory. I don't think the $1.7 billion purchasing power, which is just Ethereum rotating into the PulseChain core coins, he might not like that. He's like, that's like a 50x. I don't feel any dopamine for that. That's not good enough for me. I'm here to hit the top. And to hit the top, he's got to go the pDAI route. Maybe, we don't know. Okay, but it does work if he does that. Now, how does that actually happen? Remember, I've explained it to you. So if he bonded with the pDAI is $1, he can use the incentive token yield to attract Ethereum stablecoins in. And then they bond with pDAI. Yeah. And now he has big yield farms that are literally bonding the eDAI and the pDAI. And that is limited to how much money he can grab out there. That can get to $10 billion and everyone's earning yield. Okay. Now, there might be some plot holes in the story, friends. Honestly, I've walked through it. There could be, there could be some twists and turns. You're not going to get it perfect. Okay. It's a believers only cycle, friends. Like, how are you to expect to know the story back in 2020 before Hex was about to do its 10,000x run? You got no freaking idea, bro. Friends, people are just looking at this dude. Okay. Friends, it was literally 99% of the market was saying, you know what? I don't like this guy's nipples. Eric Wall saying, ha ha ha, he's a fat man, ha 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 ha. And Peter McDormand going, ha ha ha, you're a scammer, ha ha ha. These people are saying on one side, and then 1% said, you know what? I like what this guy's saying. I'm staying long. Truck it. Yeah, so they didn't know the story. Johnny Chaos didn't know the story. Rectum didn't know the story. No one knew the story. Godwale didn't know the story. No one knew the story. They're like, I like the dude. It looks all right. Let's see what happens. Yeah. But also, that's like with Bitcoin and Richard Hart at the start, friends. He didn't even know who Satoshi was. He's like, might work. Once again, friends, it comes down to faith. The faithful believers. So, friends, I even imagine, right, in my mind, as I play for you some gentle angel music, and I flash a big fat lollipop in your face. I make the best videos, by the way. I make the best videos. Where was this 4 years ago? 5 years ago now. Before the last bull run. I was just watching these crypto triangles doing leverage and Carl the Moon doing simulator training. Where was it? It's nowhere to be found. Well, here it is. Okay. And by the way, it's not even a guarantee. Okay. If it goes to zero, it's all our fault. It's your fault. It's my fault. It's everyone's fault. We move on. I'm sure, though, Richard is sitting on the other side. He's thinking, wow, these retardios literally watched me buy Ethereum. Wait until it's expensive later and they still can't front run. So he's probably sitting there because that's what I'd be thinking. He showed on chain. He's watched all the PulseChain community leaders share about, hey, the strategy's obvious, retardios. No expectations. It's in Ethereum. Yes, Ethereum's price sucks. Okay, we got a freak accident. Obviously, the strategy is to do something when it hits $10,000, similar to like what he did and hinted about in the last cycle. Until that point comes, shut up. Okay? He's like, probably, friends, honestly, if you went through that and you're like, bro, I can't possibly explain it again because now I just realize you just want to whinge for the sake of whinging. So it is what it is. He's probably like, you know what? No, sink. Sink or swim, you're going to sink. You probably think like that, yeah? Because you can't help everyone. Because also from my videos, friends, you already know the green candles make you smarter, don't they? You already know that. We all know that, yeah? So you don't believe any of my story because pDAI is back down 90%, yeah? Are you going to believe my story if pDAI is 10 cents in the next few months? Yeah? You'll be like, Sommi, show me your nipples. I'm like, no, that's a top signal. I'll show you my nipples maybe at $1, all right? That's what's going to happen. Green candles make you smarter. No one wanted to touch Richard Hart's man breasts here when Hex was freaking 500x away from its top. No one wanted to do that, okay? No one except the faithful. When did they want to participate in the PulseChain and PulseX sacrifice? After it was already up 1,000x. Yes, already up 1,000x. When Hex was up 5 cents in 2021, it was up 1,000x. Then everyone says, please get me into PulseChain, where we are now. PulseX sacrifice happened after Hex hit 55 cents. That's 10,000x. Literally, green candles make you smarter. Unfortunately, we were top signals. We got too many of the hater non-believers. But as far as Richard's concerned, he's like, cool, I got your Ethereum. If you're still a believer, maybe you can see what happens in the next cycle. And that brings us exactly to where we are today. You, me, and Spoonie have to battle the non-believers, friends. So, that's just how it is, okay? So, friends, like, you're watching this and you're like, okay, Sommi, thank you for the new hat. You're very, very welcome, okay? You're probably saying, okay, I get it now. Wen Moon. Good question. If only we knew. Well, look, friends, these stories, they are still at the mercy of the wider macro forces. We got black swans happening around us. Vitalik got a girlfriend. Who would have thought, literally, aliens wanted a bit of, like, human pussy, right? Who would have thought that? Total black swan. No one saw that coming. I certainly didn't. Bro, you can clone yourselves. Why do you want to go with a human? We defecate, you know? So, that was something we didn't plan for. Vitalik also, too much soy. You see what I mean? But the wider macro forces, obviously they're the fun part, friends. Obviously the real ones are the business ISM had a freak accident. It had a longer contracting period than in the GFC. Explain that one for me. That's why I've shown you all these cycles. A lot of new pDAI guys, yeah, so you gotta understand, right? That's you want to know why we're screwed? We were screwed because in every cycle before, the ISM was below 50 for less than 12 months, okay? In our cycle, we went 26 months in a row. In the GFC, which was so bad, Satoshi had to make Bitcoin, it was literally below 50 for 18 months. So, like, explain for me how the GFC was so bad, Satoshi had to make Bitcoin. The ISM was below 50 for 18 months. And in our cycle now, we got 26 months. Well, it's a believer cycle, man. It's a believer cycle, friends. Sometimes, you know, a hurricane comes. Sometimes there's an earthquake, there's a tsunami. Just think of these as like one of those events out there, you know, natural disasters, maybe planned by God. You know, some say, oh, Tom, I told you not to eat all those jelly beans. Now I'm going to wipe out all your village and teach you a lesson. It is what it is, okay? So Ethereum is undergoing this diarrhea poop storm. It's flying poop everywhere, friends. Get the Kleenex, okay? Get the hand sanitizer. And until that passes, we simply have to wait, okay? Just like everyone else did in the cycles before us. So this is the image that I've made here for you, friends. I love this picture. I made this picture. Shout out to the person who actually made it. I just put the logos out here. And here's me in the background like, oh, this guy's doing something. This guy's doing something. That's what it is, friends. So you have the faithful believers like, yes, revel in your glory, sir. And then obviously I'm like, hey, this guy's doing something. Wow, this guy's doing something. So it doesn't really matter, friends. It's markets. We can identify this. You're joining a digital nation, a digital city. Digital cities, we don't have like physical landmarks, do we? But we have leaders. We have like tokens and little altcoins, which are subculture communities. You have a road into the city, which is a bridge. You have these, okay? All these things, metaphorically, they exist. They represent what it is like a city. They're all networks, okay? It's the same characteristics. They're all networks, okay? So even after hearing all this, maybe a bit G'd up like I am, but honestly, just don't forget this, friends. None of this is financial advice, okay? It can be at zero tomorrow. I'm just telling you what I do and what me, after being here 18 hours a day, how I've like interpreted this stuff. Like I could be totally wrong. Richard come out, make an essay and be like, hey, the dude with the 4 hearts and the wacky hats and those amazing peg nipples, I'm going to now correct him. He could go and do that, but he ain't. Okay, so we got to guess. However, after all of this, there's something to think about, friends, okay? And yeah, I'm going to need some Band-Aids because my nipples have been pegged for like a full 40 minutes now. Richard made this go 99.93% down. And it came back. All right. So do you think this chart's accidental? I'd like to ask you this question. You think it's accidental? Woo, 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 woo. Do you think it's accidental? If you think it's accidental, God bless you. Okay. I don't think it's accidental. Me, I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. It's just a total coincidence. The exact price is 0.5018, which is exactly 555 X to $1. Okay, that could be a total coincidence. It could be. Now, though, we're in market strategy. Your upside to $1, if it's true, if the prophecies are true, your upside is a 240x from here. Okay, that's 240x. Yeah, whatever it is, around, or maybe 230, whatever it is. Okay, so plus, so you can actually write it here, friends. So win equals 240x, loss equals minus 1x. If you can find trades like that for me, friends, if someone gives you 10 to 1, you take it, okay? If it, like, your hurdle rate's 10. We're at 240 right now. Man, the hurdle rate at the top, 3 cents, it was 33x. I still took it. Okay? Grok gives a 60% chance Ricardo Corazon is behind it. So as far as I'm concerned, Grok's saying, hey, this thing's going to 50 cents one day. That's what Grok says. So even if you divide that by 2, the odds are still great. 100x upside, 1x downside. So you have to decide, do you want to put 1 cent or 0 cents or $1 or $3? Okay? You decide that, okay? I've just given you the information. You can decide that, okay? If you come to my Telegram channel and whinge, you're going to get the 580-day mute. We'll unmute you when Marcus Sager is getting liquidated at the end of the next bear market, okay? For the rest of us, we understand the risks, okay? This game is hard. This game is tough, but it's actually quite simple. You place your bets, you tweak your nipples, and then you simply wait and let it play out. And that, my friends, is why you and I are going to confirm friendship. Like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you in the next one.